All right, guys, I've got about 10 minutes before my baby wakes up, but there's something I really want to talk about. One of the most nerve-wracking moments in e-commerce is sending thousands of dollars to a supplier you've never worked with before and hoping everything turns up as promised. This week, I've received 2 messages from subscribers who are about to do exactly that. One is heading to China to meet manufacturers in person, and the other is preparing to place their first bulk order after meeting suppliers at an expo in Australia. Now, you don't have to meet your suppliers in person, and I'll go over some safety tips for that in a minute. But first, let's go through their questions and talk about how to work with suppliers, what to watch out for, and how to reduce the risk when placing your first order. So the first question is, if you were in my position, what would you make sure you did while physically in China that would be difficult to do once back in Australia? So if possible, I would try and request some of your actual samples of your designs are ready for when you get there to try on, etc. It may not be possible at this stage, depending on when you're going, but it will save heaps of time going back and forth with shipping samples and things like that. Also, try and bring back as many fabric samples and colors as you can for future reference, different sort of materials and designs, because photos and videos, etc., they just don't tell the full story regarding quality and stretch, etc. And it's going to really save a lot of time creating new products down the line. Another thing to think about is maybe small gifts for suppliers. If you wanted to build a relationship with them, off the top of my head, don't give clocks or watches because that's bad luck. Don't give anything in a white bag because that's associated with death or something like that. If you're not sure if you should be giving a gift, you can keep something small in your bag and then only give it if they give you one. All right, next question. What are the biggest mistakes first-time apparel founders make when working with manufacturers? Look, there are lots of possible mistakes. I can only talk from my own experience. The biggest mistake is rushing through the samples phase, sort of thinking, I've got a sample, it's almost there, I'll just make a correction and then move forward with the bulk. Don't get a sample of your new correction, because every time I've tried to cut corners, it normally backfires. I actually know a guy who has 20 grand's worth of unsellable clothes because the fit is just completely wrong. He also dropped about 20 grand on a model and a magazine shoot. So don't be doing either of those things, at least not to begin with. Also, you need to keep an eye on quality creep. Now, this is when quality gradually starts declining over time as your supplier tries to cut costs. They won't all do it. Good ones won't do it, but some will. So you need to make sure to talk to suppliers about their QA process. Another mistake that a lot of people might not agree with me on, but it's my own personal policy. Make your first order as small as possible. So try and order very small to begin with until you know which designs and colors, etc., are the ones that sell, because it might not be the SKUs that you expect. Next question, what should I be negotiating or discussing with factories besides just price? In terms of negotiations outside of, your initial unit price, beyond the standard pricing talks, I would be inquiring about future pricing when your volume increases. So this will help you decide who's a good long-term fit. And it'll also make you look more desirable as a customer, someone who's serious about growing, and they're more likely to treat you a bit better. For example, a supplier who can give you the best price for 100 units might not be the best supplier who's able to and can give you the best price for 1,000 units. So also, I'd be talking about turnaround times. Let's say something blows up, like a campaign goes really well or an opportunity arises and you suddenly need more inventory ASAP. How feasible is that going to be? Are they able to turn things around really quickly if needed? Next question, looking back, what advice would you give yourself before launching your first e-commerce brand? This is probably a whole video in itself, right? But the short answer is, don't think that just because you make something, people will buy it, right? So product is just one part of the marketing mix, and it may be the most important part, to be honest, but without branding and the story you tell and how your customers will feel when they're wearing your clothes or using your products, that becomes more and more vital every day. You can't just make something, put it online and expect customers to buy it without knowing who you are and how it's going to benefit their lives. Does that make sense? Also, I took too long getting to grips with the accounting side of things. Now, I didn't know my numbers properly for like the first year. And then I remember I was surprised at tax time that I made revenue, but then like when I actually did the proper accounts, I'd basically made no profit, mainly because I was only thinking about gross profit. So basically my revenue minus the cost of goods. But there are so many other expenses that you need to be across to work out your net profit. So this is Xero. It's the accounting software I use for this YouTube channel, and I've used it for every e-commerce store I've ever ran. It's as simple or as powerful as you want it to be. And honestly, I would have been wrecked without it when it was time to file taxes or even just figure out like where all my money had gone. The basic package is really cheap anyway, but there's also a link in the description that'll get you 90% off for the first 6 months. That's an affiliate link, but I've been using Xero for over 10 years, so I love recommending it. Check it out. All right, next question. If you were launching an active brand from scratch today, an activewear brand from scratch today, what would your social media and advertising strategy look like in the first 3 to 6 months? So honestly, I'm no good at social. So as anyone who follows Side Business Bloke on Instagram would know, organic social is definitely not my strong point. I'm probably not the best person to ask for this, but my one bit of advice would be, if you're going to be running ads, which you should be, don't scale your ads until something is working. So you could take your best performing organic posts, you can turn them into ads and use cookies and pixels to find out what's working, what's converting, and then only scale what works, or at least looks like it's somewhat working, right? Retargeting ads will be your best performers. So that means it's targeting people who've, say, visited your site in the last 30 days or interacted with your social media profiles within the last 30 days, things like that. You can set one up for like anyone who's added to cart in the last 30 days and offer like a small discount. Like honestly, 5-10% or free shipping might be enough to just get those across the line. If you use influencers, give them each unique URLs so you can track your ROI for each influencer. Basically, all of your marketing campaigns, you don't just want to be paying money blindly, because you'll be making sales, but you won't know where they're coming from, which influencer are they coming from, your ads, you just won't know, right? So yeah, that's probably my one bit of advice. All right, now the next viewer had a slightly different situation. So they've actually already found a supplier that they're really happy with. They met at an industry expo in Australia. She's really happy with them, but they aren't on Alibaba, so there's no trade assurance. So she's got samples. She's about to place her first bulk order, and she asked me, what risks am I taking? Are there any due diligence checks I should do? I've established a good relationship with them, so I also don't want to start asking for things that may get them offside now. Now, full disclosure, I'm by no means an importing expert. I'm just someone who was once in your position, so I know exactly how you feel. Your situation sounds pretty good, to be honest, but I get why you'd be concerned about not having that Alibaba safety net. I have also placed an initial order outside of Alibaba, but that was because I knew the person from when they had worked with a previous supplier. It's pretty common once you trust them. I think the thing to remember is, like, if they're legit, they want years of increasing orders from you, right? Like, they want your long-term sales, okay? Same as any business. Like, they don't just want to be ripping you off on a one-off transaction. So it's in their interest to deliver what you expect. And I've found that the risk is not that they won't send the goods, but that the quality may decline over time. So it might decline in between the sample phase and your first order phase, or it might be like a few orders in, you'll notice things start sort of declining if they cut corners. There are a few things you can do. So firstly, you can make sure that you emphasize that you are looking for a long-term partner and order volumes are going to increase over time. So talk a big game, like they'll look after you more if they think you're more valuable to them. You can place an initial order as small as possible for the first time around. even if it costs a bit more. Like I once received an amazing sample and then placed a bulk order for 100 pieces. So like a small bulk order, and it was just a completely different material. So, I'm just grateful it was only 100 pieces and not 1,000 pieces. You can also make sure that quality expectations and their quality control process is documented in writing. Trust your gut. Like, are you happy with the reason that they gave you for why they're not on Alibaba? What else? They probably won't be up for this. A 50% deposit before manufacturing, and then a 50% like balance payment after you receive the goods. They probably won't be up for that, understandably. But what you can do is a deposit before manufacturing and then pay the balance before shipping. So you might pay like 30% up front, and then you receive photos and videos after production, and then you can pay the balance and then they ship it to you. That's like pretty standard, to be honest. What else? This is me being paranoid, but I've Google image search photos from suppliers before. Maybe not relevant to you because you've already met them, but if you haven't, so one time a supplier who I think was actually just like an agent or a middleman had stolen a photo from an unrelated factory. They'd put it on their website. I Google image searched it and it just come up some completely different business. That was obviously an immediate red flag. And yeah, I totally get that you don't want to offend them and things like that, but this is all standard stuff. Talk a big game, give them an incentive to look after you for the long term. The fact that they're even at an expo in Australia is probably a good sign, because they're not cheap to attend, to have a stand at. But that doesn't mean you don't need to still do your other due diligence, which it sounds like you're doing. And yeah, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for both of these subscribers, actually. It's a very exciting time. I was thinking the other day, it's kind of like the night before you go on holiday. Like, you've done the work and now you're about to go. But it's by no means smooth sailing from here. The other advice I would give to both of these viewers is there's going to be times when it's really, really difficult. That's completely normal, like it's supposed to be. So don't worry. Everyone goes through it. If you're still watching, give us a like. I'm pretty sure I've got Baby Vom on my t-shirt somewhere, so that alone has got to be worth a like. If you're about to start an e-commerce business, watch this video next, as I go through the 10 things that you absolutely need to know before you start your first online store. Or you can watch this video where I talk about how I made millions with an online store and then why I closed it, and it's probably not what you expect.